This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Tuesday, July the 15th of 2025, day 196 of the year. Only 169 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there. Over there.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Oh, yes, doing all the stuff that we get to do inside of that side of the multiverse. No doubt about that, because it's always a good time when you and I get to hang. So how are things? How has the last 24 hours or so been? Always, an interesting time as we take a look around at what is going on inside of our worldo. No doubt about that. Anyways, if you're not familiar with what we do around here, let me kind of give you explainer-ainer, if you don't mind. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. We talk a little bit about this, we talk a little bit about that, and then we give you everything that we're able to give you information-wise. Just what we do. And as we go through the process, there's a versionality where you're able to interact with the show by going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. And once you get there, you'll have some options for audio, video, and text messaging. That's audio, video, and text messaging. Once you get there and go into it, you'll have those three options. It'll give me a little prompt here on the screen, and then I kind of know where exactly you want to go. So we're able to change some things around and take a look at what is happening. Anyway, so let's start talking a little bit about some of the stuff that was trending in the overnight, because, that's important.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I take a look at the trends of the ends, notable and noteworthy, a local hero earns a fitting reward. Also an update on Eric and Lyle Menendez, fight for freedom in show business. Also, you might be amazed on this one. Superman scores a big box office numbers and a sneak peek at the new Harry Potter. A friend of mine and I always call it Harry Porter, so I always want to say the wrong thing. So that's it. That will happen in casting calls. Also, let's see. The frustrated Sussex just have no idea who might have leaked their latest tabloid dust-up. And we'll talk a little bit about that inside of the Royals. Not Royale, but Royals. So if you're ready, I guess I'm ready. I have some people that hang out with us from Feature Story News. They'll talk a little bit about everything that is going on inside of the news cycles. So that way we can uncover what's inside of Pandora's box. Who's Pandora and what's her box? Well, maybe that's a whole other conversation to discuss as well. So if you're good, I'm good, and we can get moving. So let's go ahead and bring in our friends from Feature Story News because they want to give us some features, I guess. That's really what it boils down to, is really when it's all said and done. So let's go ahead and do that right now here on, well, do we call it the Jay Allen in the Morning Show yet? No, let's not do that because it's still the Rated R Safety Show. Okay, so let's go ahead and get you into the news right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. More than 100 people have died in Pakistan as the country grapples with floods and record rainfall. The Weather Bureau says heavy rain will continue all week and has urged authorities to ramp up rescue operations. Here are Mustafa reports from Islamabad.
Pakistan's National Disaster Management Authority says that the highest number of casualties have been recorded in Punjab, the country's most populous province. The Weather Bureau warns more rainfall this week could trigger urban flooding, landslides, and infrastructure damage. In response, authorities have ramped up evacuation efforts, urging residents living in flood-prone and vulnerable areas to move to safer locations. Pakistan remains one of the world's most climate-vulnerable nations, with its 240 million people increasingly exposed to extreme weather events. In 2022, the country was devastated by unprecedented monsoon floods, which submerged a third of the country, killing 1,700 people. Hira Mustafa, Islamabad.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says he's grateful after Donald Trump promised to make new weapons available to Ukraine. They'll be supplied via NATO allies. US President Donald Trump's also threatening Russia with severe tariffs if it doesn't agree to end the war. At the White House, he said he'd lost patience with Vladimir Putin.
Numerous times I'd get home, I'd say, First Lady, I had the most wonderful talk with Vladimir. I think we're finished. And then I'll turn on the television, or she'll say to me one time, wow, that's strange because they just bombed a nursing home.
China's economy grew 5.2% in Q2 compared to the same period last year. That's slightly above expectations amid ongoing uncertainty caused by US tariff policy. India's aviation regulators ordering airlines to inspect the lock on fuel control switches on Boeing 787 and 737 planes by next week. The directive comes after a preliminary report on last month's Air India crash found fuel switches were cut off moments after takeoff. Neha Punia reports from New Delhi.
The focus of this directive is going to be to check planes to ensure that the locking mechanism on fuel switches is in place. All of this is linked to what that preliminary report spoke of, where it said that the fuel cut-off switches went from run to cut-off barely a few seconds after takeoff, and while they were revived and fuel to the engines was revived, it wasn't enough to allow the plane to take off and gain height. And that's really the focus of the probe going ahead. But what this has done, of course, is, brought a lot of attention to a 2018 bulletin that was issued by the Federal Aviation Administration, which had said that some Boeing 737 fuel control switches were installed with the locking feature disengaged.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking today in more detail at the prospects for a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza. The Americans and the Israelis keep suggesting that a breakthrough in conversations with Hamas is possible and that some kind of an agreement could be struck soon. But Hamas is pressing for a full Israeli military withdrawal from the territory, along with a massive surge of humanitarian aid, and it's not clear that those military demands are the kind of ceasefire that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has in mind. Tom Friedman, foreign affairs columnist for the New York Times, discussed Netanyahu's concept of a ceasefire with Foreign Policy magazine in the United States.
He wants his ceasefire deal. His ceasefire deal would be a ceasefire for 60 days that would return about half of the hostages and unfortunately, corpses of Israeli hostages in return for Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. After that, though, he wants the right to resume the war, just as he did with the last ceasefire, why he broke it. And he wants that because the two farthest right members of his cabinet, Bezalel Smotrich and Ben Gvir, the security minister, are both insisting that the war continue until what Bibi called total victory.
Multiple rounds of negotiations with Hamas, brokered by the Qataris and the Egyptians, have so far failed, with the extent of the Israeli military withdrawal a major sticking point. I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, more than 110 people have died in Pakistan as the country grapples with floods and rainfall. Ukraine's president says he's grateful after Donald Trump promised to make new weapons available to Ukraine. China's economy grew 5.2% in quarter two, and India's aviation regulators ordering airlines to inspect the locks on fuel control switches on Boeing 787 and 737 planes by next week. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things is mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy. now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, complete edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Oh, yes, the Rated Safety Show is the way that he says it, isn't it? So that's the way that it goes. So let's take a look. 16 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out doing our thingo. No doubt about that. So let's go ahead and talk real quick. Not talk dirty to me, but, talk. Talk is the way that we normally go about doing our stuff. No doubt about that. So what are you thinking? What are you liking? What are you not liking that you're seeing out there? Because there is tons of stuff going on inside of the world of our multiverse. At least it seems that way in regards to the stuff going on. So are you liking what you're seeing out there? Are the safety nuances that are coming about making you happy, not making you happy, making you pissed? I don't know. I kind of always look around at some of that stuff, and I always have all kinds of questions. Listen, I was reading something a few days ago on LinkedIn, I believe it was, about talking about Safety 3. I've heard of Safety 1, I've heard of Safety 2, and then now there's a Safety 3 thing. And I wasn't able to dig deep enough in regards of what exactly it's all about, but it's interesting. It's all the general nuances that people want to talk about relying on psychological safety. And it looked like they were trying to tie some of that stuff together as referencing on Safety 3. So I don't know. I went ahead and from that point on and bought websites of safety all the way to 365 because I figured that it might be important that we get different numbers going forward. So who knows? There's always an interesting aspect on how we need to number these systems.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey, I was just saying what exactly is going on. Don't get mad at me. So listen to this. I have to talk to you real quick. Next week here in Orlando, a big safety conference going on, in case you have not heard. Or should I say big safety spectacle going on at the Orlando Convention Center. So that's an option for the people that are here in Orlando, or if you're flying in. I didn't come to the realization, not that I was ever going to be invited to that thing anyways, because of how lovely I've talked about the organization throughout the years. I'm not going to be here next week in regards to that. I mean, I thought it was kind of an intriguing thing because I'll be hitting the road next week. But I thought it was interesting on, the amount of stuff that's going on in Orlando when it's related to the safety aspect. But I don't know. I've come to the conclusion that some of these giant conferences now, unless you're really going for the networking stuff, it's just a giant sales event. I was looking a few days ago, minimum point of entry if you want your name on the board is $100,000. Minimum point of entry if you want your name to be seen. I mean, you can get it on that, those smaller size font. But if you want the gigantic font where you want people to know that you sponsored the event, $100,000. Sounds a little pricey. And I don't know. I don't know what people are gaining from these things. I really don't. But anyways, let's not get lost into the romance or wilderness of pain yet. Let's go ahead and start talking real quick about some of the stuff that's going on inside of the multiverse, because that seems to be important. A massive sanction package is working through Congress that would slap 100% tariffs on any countries buying uranium, gas, or oil from Russia. That number has nothing to do directly with the economics and everything to do with applying pressure on Vladimir Putin. The bill has bipartisan support. President Trump says that he implemented a 100% tariff on Russia if a ceasefire is not negotiated in the next 50 days. Meanwhile, Trump says that Mexico and European Union will be subject to a 30% tariff after, or effective, better saying, August the 1st. President of Mexico said that over the weekend that the current negotiations regarding fentanyl and border security have made progress and final deal can be established before the end of the month. Meanwhile, in Brazil, a brothel in Fortaleza, Brazil, has reportedly added a 50% surcharges to all American customers, which it's called Trump tariff. So hold on. I got a question for you. If you go to this brothel, how do they know that you're an Americano? I'm just wondering, because that seems like an interesting one. There has to be something there that would let them know that that's part of the use case. I'm just saying, it's kind of a weird one. How would they know this?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's found this. Benedictine monks in 1996, and since has grown for an estimated 400,000 volumes of books dating back to centuries. Now a beetle infestation threatens to destroy one of the fourth of those books that was available. A breed of beetle plaguing the shelves that are attached to some of the adhesives made in gelatin and starch used in older books. The chief restorer of the project were never encountered such a degree of infestation before. Workers are quickly but delicately containing 100,000 infested books into crates that were additions that have already been consumed and will be carefully restored as much as possible. Fortunately, some of the most ancient books, which include a complete Bible from the 13th century, have been spared since they were kept in a contained special environment, and that prevents exactly the kind of thing that is happening. So that gets kind of weird. So we're restoring books with infestation on them, is what it sounds like. If you are on the screener, this is what the packaging looks like on what they're talking about. Yeah, that's different. Kind of make it look a little weird. Let's not lie here. Yeah, guess book restoration's kind of important, I guess, when it comes to certain things. Okay, so let's continue talking because I think we're going to lose it here. Let's see. Last month, worshipers at Wayne, Michigan church avoided a tragedy when an apparent would-be gunman was stopped in the parking lot before he could make his way inside and open fire. One of the church deacons, a man named Richard Pryor, not the comedian because he's dead, was running late and was scheduled Vacation Bible School, VBS, service on June the 22nd, but his tardiness was Providence, and he was pulling to the property in his F-150 truck prior to being spotted. The armed gunman, who was dressed in fatigues and carrying weapons, making his way for the front entrance. Pryor then hit the accelerator and ran down the shooter, who survived long enough to fire a few shots, but was quickly killed by an armed security site. The heroic act left Pryor F-150 badly damaged. Now a nearby Ford dealership has gifted Pryor a brand new F-150. The dealership owner says that Pryor was incredibly grateful for it and was almost standoffish, like he doesn't deserve it, which is certainly not the case. This is according to WKYZ. Yep, WKYZ was reporting the information of what was going on. I would normally show you this, but unfortunately, it looks like if I try to click on it, it becomes ad fest for WKYZ. So, yeah, Not going to be able to show you that one. Okay, let's continue talking. Back to the to work. Starbucks corporate employees have to work in the office 4 days a week starting in 2026, up from the current 3 days. Staff at the management level on up to will also have their to live near the office within the next year. For employees or partners in the corporate speak who don't want to abide by the new rule, they will be offered a one-time payout to find work elsewhere. The return to office order comes from Brian Nickel, who took over the coffee company last September. While his official residence is in California, he has a home in Seattle and spends much of his time traveling to manage the global brand. Anyway, so there you go. This is according to the New York Post. So that's going to get interesting right away as we are talking because, hey, you know, some people are not going to love that aspect when it's all said and done. Just kind of the way that things go from time to time with a lot of the information of the stuff that is happening inside of the world. So let's see. Can we? I think that's it. I think that's what's going on. So I guess if the main person in charge says, hey, you need to start coming in, or if they're going to give you a one-time payout, you have to make some choices, is the way that it sounds for sure. So there you go. Okay, let's talk about spiders on a plane. Yeah, more than 1,500 young tarantulas were seized at Colin Bonn Airport in West Germany earlier this month. And let's see. Some archers were found inside of a plastic tube that had been hidden in chocolate sponge cake boxes shipped in Vietnam. Customs officials only made the discovery due to the noticeable smell coming from the package. While most of the spiders did not survive the trip, the ones that did were handed over to an expert handler. The unidentified recipient of the package now faces several charges, including to pay for proper import duties and make proper customs declarations. The recipient of the package? Like, how do we know if the recipient of the package was the person that placed the order for them and somebody wasn't just harassing them a little bit and trying to give them some stuff? I'm just asking the question. I don't know these things. I'm just talking because that's the way that it works. Okay, so let's talk about some swamp stuff because that's the way that it goes. Former President Barack Obama has some harsh words for his party colleagues. A private fundraiser on Friday, he told the room that taking back the presidency in Congress will require a little bit less navel gazing and a little less whining and being in the fetal position. Now it's going to require Democrats to just toughen up. In an apparent absence of any self-awareness, Obama blamed government regulations on the housing crisis. He said, I don't care. I don't care you much. What? That doesn't make sense. I don't care you much you love. Or maybe it's supposed to say, I don't care how much you love the working people. They can't afford a house because all of the rules in your state making it prohibited to build. Adding, I don't want to know about your ideology because you can't build anything. It does not matter. So that's some harsh words coming from former President Barack Obama. So maybe some people will say, hey, there's some truth level to it. Or maybe some people will say, what the hell? Does he really know what he's talking about?
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so take a listen to this. This week, the word of the week is recession. When Congress votes to not spend money in any particular previously doled out section, at the point the docket of $9 billion recession package that would pull funding from PBS and NPR, and there's not a guarantee it passes. If Congress can't pass the $9 billion in real spending cuts, about 0.12% of its total spending, that what hope is there to clean up the $37 trillion in debt? I have a hard time with some of this stuff. And let's talk about this for just one moment. Have you ever had an experience in life where you lived off a credit card and you had no way to pay for it? Like, seriously, no way to pay for it? Like, at best, you were doing maybe minimum payments? Sounds a lot like that with some of this government spending stuff. But, of course, This is an outsider talking in regards to this because I don't understand some of this stuff. Like, if I was maxed out on credit cards or in debt, I would be freaking out the whole time about the whole thing. I'm just saying this is kind of just how my brain works when it comes to some stuff. So there you go. Okay, so let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Let's take a look into this one real quick. Let's talk about the numbers. The Dow gained about 88 points to close at 44,459 on Monday. The S&P increased by 8 points to close at 6,268, and the Nasdaq increased by 54 points to close at 20,640. West Texas Intermediate closed at $66 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $69 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.15 on Monday, and Bitcoin hit an all-time high, up over $120,000. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $90 million jackpot or a $39.9 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, there's time to do so. Take a listen to this. New evidence in the Menendez murder case means freedom for Eric and Lyle. Superior Court Judge William C. Ryan says that the letter detailing the alleged molestation of Eric's experience at the hands of his father, Jose Menendez, and similar accusations from former members of Menudo, the band that founded by Jose, could lead to their convictions being overturned. According to a new court document regarding the evidence, prosecutors have 30 days to refute the findings of the brothers, essentially to walk free. Meanwhile, a parole hearing on the matter is scheduled for next month, though they could be irrelevant if their convictions get tossed with the new evidence. This is according to TMZ. Let me give you one more real quick before we get the hell out of here. Ellen DeGeneres is putting her longtime feud with Rosie O'Donnell aside as she defends her fellow expat against President Donald Trump. DeGeneres shared a screenshot of O'Donnell clapback of Trump's Truth Social post claiming that he is giving serious consideration to stripping her of her citizenship, calling her a threat to humanity. Good for you, Rosie, she captioned the post, in which O'Donnell told Trump to go ahead and try it. O'Donnell moved with her 12-year-old to Ireland earlier this year, while DeGeneres relocated to England last year with her wife, Portia de Rossi. Both cited Trump's presidency the reason why. Feud flashback, a bad blood started back in 1998 when DeGeneres told Larry King that she didn't know O'Donnell and stated that they were not friends. That's a cause for a feud? That's interesting. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's get into it because maybe it's time to do that main story stuff.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk. Let's move some stuff. Let's get some blood flowing. Some things to talk about. Some way to move. Some way to reason, some way to talk about some stuff always going on inside of the world of the multiverse. Because listen, I get kind of I'm gonna say worried with how some people look at stuff. I get worried sometimes on how things go about, opposed to how things happen. And I reference this because there is a lot of times in life that we go through a certain moment and we don't have a lot of time to adapt. And maybe we don't have a lot of time to think about what's going on. And listen, I'll make a little reference here to the Booko, the Signal Transmission Trilogy. And there is a section inside of this thing that I make some references about how we do trainings inside of a system, inside of something that's not real to people, how we do trainings, and we expect people to adapt based on the training level of the stuff that we gave them. So, not a true environment, not something they've ever seen before, and we expect them to react with the training inside of a system of something that has never occurred to them, and should be their new reality. Kind of an interesting twist. So the more that I sit back and I talk about this stuff, the more I come to the realization that things could be different if you used or had a set of core principles when you interact with people, when you interact with systems, when you interact with the workplace. Now, listen, a lot of times people get misconstrued when you start talking about principles. I've been looking into something recently, and they have 32 principles inside of a system that I'm looking into currently. And I was like, wow, that's a very high number of principles to talk about to people. So I thought that was kind of strange. But okay, I mean, you have to do what you think is best. But the more I looked into this, the more I looked at it and I said, what would be best suited if you were looking at stuff and had a set of principles? And of course, we're going to get back to human and organizational performance, which consists mostly of 5 principles. And if you use the core principles as they relate to everything, how easy would it be to make some life decisions? How easy would it be if you had to adjust in real time with the things that were going on? That's the problem, or the things that I run into in my head, where I go, how do we make this work for most people, opposed to it just being something that we go, it should work. Hasn't worked, but maybe it should. So when you're making decisions in life, are you basing them off of principles, or are you basing them off of core values? Or is it just a reaction in real time on what's happening? Now, listen, I'm not saying any of the things that I referenced there are wrong or correct. I'm asking, how do you do this? Because that's always going to be the important part. If anything, it's the most important part. Now, think about this from a standpoint on training. If you've ever been in basic training inside of the military, if you've ever been in a martial arts training, if you've ever been in a sports training, what they're trying to get you to do is have reaction time. It's how you react in real time of the things that are occurring. And I look at that and I talk about it and I reference that for the sole purpose of, how would that work for you? How would things move? Think about it for a moment. Think about it for just one brief moment in time. How would things work for you if you had reaction times in either core principles or core values in all the decisions you made? Think about that. Some of our safety programs are developed in that, but sometimes our trainings are so shitty that we try to give people non-real world events, and they're supposed to remember these things off of a one-time thing that they trained on many moons ago. It gets weird sometimes on how that's supposed to work out.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Let me talk to you real quick. What is HelloFresh? With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Spend your time this month shopping for gifts and sipping cocoa, not stuck at the checkout line. Sign up for HelloFresh and get everything you need to whip up a fresh, tasty meal delivered to your door. Just choose your recipes, select a delivery date, and relax knowing that dinner is on its way. HelloFresh has over 45 recipes and more than 100 seasonal add-on items to choose from every week, so it's easier than ever to find something everyone will enjoy. Go to HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free. That's HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free to use the code SafetyFM free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/SafetyFM free with code SafetyFM free. And don't forget that this is why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' best life insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/SafetyFM today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/SafetyFM. Ladderlife.com/SafetyFM.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns, and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com
acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to a mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Some of the best things in life come to those who wait, but we ain't waiting for shit. Radio Big.
Okay, here we are. 46 minutes past the top of the hour. As we are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. This right here is After Hours by The Wanderers. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Yep, that's the way it goes. We would like to thank the Wanderers for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. So there you go. Anyways, let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And the people at To Write Love on Our Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now and that healing is possible. Things can get better. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there's going to be information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To write love on her arms. TWLOHA.com. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, as we are always talking. No doubt about that. Anyways, let's talk about some other stuff, because that is what we do around here. We keep it moving and grooving and all that stuff. Anyways, Monday, no fun day. If you dread Mondays, you're definitely not alone. And a new study out of Hong Kong has confirmed that many already knew that Monday stress is harder or hits harder, and it sticks around. Researchers tracked over 3,500 adults and found that those who reported anxiety, especially on Mondays, had 23% more cortisol, the stress hormone in their system. Even months later, the spike showed that up even in retirees, suggesting our bodies might carry a kind of Monday imprint. Experts say that it's not just the job grind. It seems the shift from weekend freedom to weekday structure throws out our internal clocks. You're joining from a sleep in the dark or sleep in and snack to get up, get dressed, deal with traffic. And that jolt can trigger stress responses that builds up over time, which is linked to health issues like heart disease. How to fight it? Experts suggest that trying weekly stress inventory, a way of spotting that you're dreading before your body kicks into fight or flight mode. We'll do this starting next Monday. If I'm still around, of course, maybe that's the question. And I also don't dread Mondays. I pre-dread them starting Friday evening. Now, I mean, I don't know. I think it's an interesting study. I'm not going to lie here in regards to it. But I always find it kind of odd where people have these high stress moments about Monday. It's like I always look at it and I go, maybe it's the wrong job that you have if you're that stressed out about a Monday coming up. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Maybe I need to contact the people from Hong Kong. Anyways, let's talk about Mr. Stress Free. Let's talk to John Smalls, and let's see what he has going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Glenn. Maximus the Confessor said, "In all of our deeds, God looks at the intention, whether it is to do for his sake or for the sake of some other intention." Yeah, focus on the why. Sometimes the how and the who can greatly be helped by the why. Let me explain. If you're doing a charity event, but the reason is because this charity helped you when you needed help, your conviction and your passion, that'll be transferred to other people. They may feel moved to help you even more because they see why it matters to you so much. They might even come up with new ways how to help you, all because they know why it matters to you.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. Years ago, I opened the door to my mother's room and found her kneeling in prayer. Her face was full of feeling as she poured out her heart to the Lord she so dearly loved. The intensity of her intercession humbled me, and I listened in awe as she bombarded heaven on behalf of her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, who, I wondered, will pray for us when she is gone. Proverbs 31 says, "Her children arise and call her blessed." Lord Jesus, I thank you for godly mothers whose prayers have shaped their children and protected them. Bless them, Lord, and give them their reward. In your holy name I pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
A tragic Israeli airstrike in Gaza has left at least 6 children dead at a water collection point. The incident occurred in the central Gaza Strip at Al-Auda Hospital in Nuseirat.
The Israeli military attributed the strike to a technical error, causing the munition to miss its intended target by dozens of meters. Local residents report ongoing restrictions, with concrete blocks impeding access to nearby villages. The United Nations notes that 40,000 people have been killed and nearly 13 million displaced in the region. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Indonesian police are investigating 26 premium rice brands for alleged mislabeling and price gouging. The probe follows a report from the agriculture minister highlighting fraudulent practices.
Authorities aim to address consumer deception and stabilize rice prices in the market. The investigation involves major rice companies across the country. This crackdown is part of broader efforts to ensure fair trade practices in Indonesia's agricultural sector. Chris Anderson reporting.
Hanoi, Vietnam is set to establish an innovation center to become the nation's leading scientific hub. The initiative aims to boost technological advancement and research in the capital city. Joseph Eckerson with the latest.
City officials plan to collaborate with academic institutions and tech firms to drive innovation. The center is expected to attract global investment and talent. This development marks a significant step in Vietnam's push for scientific leadership in Southeast Asia.
This is the latest news headlines.
Central Texas faces ongoing recovery challenges after a slow-moving storm dumped heavy rain on areas hit by deadly flooding earlier this month. The small town of Hunt continues to grieve as search efforts for missing residents persist.
At least 121 people died in the July 4th floods, with 160 still unaccounted for. Rebuilding has begun, but the community remains focused on supporting affected families. Local authorities are coordinating relief efforts to aid recovery. Kyle Norris reporting.
Churches in Los Angeles are implementing contingency plans after the Trump administration rescinded guidance protecting houses of worship from immigration enforcement. The policy change has sparked concern among faith communities.
Congregations are storing emergency plans in accessible folders at church entrances. These measures aim to protect undocumented immigrants seeking sanctuary. Local leaders are advocating for clearer protections amid heightened enforcement actions. Jessica Oakley reporting.
President Donald Trump announced a 30% tariff on goods from the European Union and Mexico effective August 1st. The decision follows failed negotiations with key trading partners.
The tariffs aim to address trade imbalances, but have sparked concerns about economic impacts. Some economists note Trump's history of retracting tariff threats. Mexico and the EU are preparing to negotiate potential exemptions. Kevin Sanders reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
John, what's that awful stench? Radio.
Yeah, sounds a little stinchy-inchy around here, that's for sure, as we are talking. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date, because that always seems to be like an important thing to do. Back in 2023, Argentina soccer star Lionel Messi signs a 2-year deal with the Inter Miami. He's guaranteed a salary that fell between $50 and $60 million a year. David Beckham is one of the 3 owners of Inter Miami, alongside with Jose Mas and Jorge Mas. So there you go. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Mason Dye turns 31. Alexander Calvet turns 35. Damian Lillard turns 35 as well. Amy Carrero, 37. Taylor Kidney, 44. Ray Toro, 48. Also Lana Parrilla, 48 as well. Jim Jones, 49. Gabriel Iglesias and Diane Kruger all turn 49s as well. Brian Austin Green turns 52. Scott Foley turns 53. Jim Rash, 54. Eddie Griffin turns 57. Marty Wright turns 61. And Forrest Whitaker turns 64. And that is your birthdays for today. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, I have some of those for you. It's National Give Something Away Day. National Clean Beauty Day. I don't even know what that means. Black Currant Day. That's all stuff that's going on today, if you're trying to celebrate those. If you need a rando for today, I got one of those for you, because why would I not have that? Here's the random. My parents had 6 photos of me from 1993, and I have 105 pics of my dog from 7 a.m. this morning. Think about that. Okay, if you need a phone starter for today, try this. What's something people do in movies and shows that we never do in real life? If you need a question for the water cooler, try this. 85% of people cringe when they listen to this. What is it? Their own voice. And then there's some other people that don't cringe at all, and all they do is listen to their own voice all day. Just saying. So there you go. That's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. That would be fantastic as we talk about the world of music and entertainment at radiobig.fm. If you don't want to go over to that side, that's perfectly fine, and you want to hang out here on Safety FM and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. Some options for you as we are doing our thing. If you go into the world of safety consulting, he's going to take care of you over the next hour. So make sure that you hang out there. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes no sense to do what we do around here. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. Those who judge you will never understand you, and those who understand you will never judge you. Think about that, because that's something really to think about. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.